Good evening, I'm Hugh Downs.
And I'm Barbara Walters, and this is 2020.
And here we go.
It's the comic book bullies.
Man, you come right out of a comic book.
It's the comic book bullies.
You will bow down before me!
It's the comic book bullies.
Now I am the master.
It's the comic book bullies. It's the comic book bullies.
Welcome back to the Comic Book Bullies. We're Nerd is a New Bully. I'm your host, Leroy, a.k.a. Dandelion, with my co-host.
Okay. This is Eli, the Red Orchid. I don't know.
I don't know if that's an assassin or a gay porn star. I don't know what the fuck that is. Whatever it is, we're just going to move on with the show. So, yeah, we are back with the first episode of 2020. So, brand new month, brand new week, brand new year, brand new decade. Yeah, we are doing it. And at first, 2020 seemed like it was just going to be the same old, same old. Then all of a sudden, Eli, weird shit started happening. You turn on the news, and Australia, the entire continent, is on fire.
Yeah, no shit.
Like,
That's
what the
so
fuck?
fucked up.
I saw news over the day. They showed New Zealand. People from New Zealand were holding the camera phone, and their skies were red. Like, that biblical shit. That's what New Zealand looked like.
Like Crisis on Infinite Earths.
It looked exactly like that. Now, we're talking about New Zealand, not Australia.
Yeah.
That's what New Zealand looked like because they're so close to Australia.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, so the anti-verse is about to destroy Earth. I mean, we already said we survived every other near apocalypse. 1999, 2012, 2016, but we'll go past it. We might not survive 2020 the way we're going now. So if anybody that has been under a rock, and we're not going to deep dive into this shit at all because it's so much shit still developing right now. We don't know what the fuck's going on. And by tomorrow coming, it'll be something else new coming on. But everybody knows about the other shit that's going on.
Yeah.
I'll just go ahead and say it. Yeah. Apparently, we bombed somebody, and when I don't know who is this we, because I was at home playing Xbox, so I don't know what the fuck.
I didn't do shit.
But they keep saying we did it. I wasn't there, so I don't know. So somebody got bombed in Iran. Iran, say it right. If some shit pops off, we don't need to keep saying Iran. Please understand who we're having trouble with right now. I hate you, fucking Iran. Nope. That's why they hate us right now. Because we can't even say their fucking names. So, all I know is that Eli, I don't know who the fuck this guy is, but I saw his funeral today on Sunday morning. Did you see it?
I saw, yeah.
So it was like thousands of people out in the streets for his funeral. I'm like, oh, this guy is a big deal. So, okay.
Yeah, they're pissed.
They're pissed. In their parliament today, they were shouting in unison, "Death to America."
Mm-hmm.
The government, not people, the government was saying that. So, and I hate to do this, but yeah, we got to keep going on this because he's actually on Twitter instigating this shit even more, saying how he just spent $2 trillion on weapons, and if you do anything to retaliate, he's going to show you what these weapons. So he's based on Twitter like he's Tupac.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? And we know. I said we weren't going to do this, but we know why he's doing this.
Oh yeah, we know.
We know why he's doing this, but we're not going to go into detail about that. Like I said, this is just insanity going on right now, so we're not going to talk too much about it because you didn't come here to listen, like the listeners, the viewers, the fans, whatever. You didn't come here to listen for that bullshit. You came for escapism. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about some completely other shit, and we're going to go from there. So, let me say it. Oh, I feel like something else had happened, Eli. What else? Oh, yeah. Let's talk about some good shit, man. Before we move on to the actual podcast, because some actually good stuff that happened with you.
Really?
Yes, you. Specifically you.
Really?
Yes.
I got rear-ended the other day and my hip hurts.
I mean, besides that, we're trying to lighten the mood, Eli. You're bringing this shit down. My light bills. Well, my lights are out right now. You know?
Man, it hurts to sit. That's how fucked up
I'm recording the
I am.
podcast in my car, but I'm sorry to hear all that, Eli. You know I feel your pain. So hopefully you can, because this is supposed to be like the New Year's resolution. You're supposed to be in the gym right now. Working out and shit.
No, I can't move.
Okay, well, hopefully you didn't make a New Year's resolution like everybody else did. Everybody's like, yeah, I'm gonna get swole for the gym, and then 2 weeks later nobody gives a shit anymore.
I'm too old for that shit.
You're not even gonna at least try, at least pretend.
Yeah.
I mean,
barely celebrate my
do
birthday. I don't give a shit about the new year.
Like shit just happened and it's it. But the good news I was telling you about the playoff game today.
Oh yeah, that was nice.
You forgot.
That was a surprise.
Here's the thing about it. Okay, because it was the Vikings versus the Saints. Now, I'm from Mississippi, and damn near everybody in Mississippi is a Saints fan. So when the Saints lost today, like my timeline was sad. They were like super sad. It's like Popeyes ran out of chicken sandwiches again. Like that's sad, And then here you come, shit grinning from ear to ear, with Viking shit all over you. Just like I'm like, oh wow. Like I just wish you could have seen my timeline. It felt like you were laughing at everybody.
Yeah, that was my surprise. Like, holy shit, we won. I was like, you know what? Hey, it's going to be the last Vikings game of the year. I'm going to have fun. And then, whoa, holy shit, we won. I didn't expect to win.
You never know.
Nobody expected us to win. But we did. And we almost didn't win. Because that's classic Vikings for you. They fuck up right at the end.
Saints fans always saying the refs cheat or something like that. It wasn't no bullshit like that. But
that fucking offensive pass interference. Fuck that shit. How the fuck you gonna interfere your own pass? That's
right.
Bullshit. It's a bullshit call. Oh, he pushed me away. He said, but you're trying to you're all over him. Fucking.
And then on top of it, the play before that, they fucked themselves over.
Yeah.
They got an offensive penalty on themselves, like when they had the ball.
Yeah, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I
don't have a dog in the race either way. So, whoever would have won, I would have been satisfied. All I know is that if the Saints would have won, there would have been a shit ton of Super Bowl parties somewhere in my area, and I just could have went there and eat. But when the Saints don't win, nobody gives a shit about throwing Super Bowl parties, so I'm just going to go hungry. So I'm like, fuck.
Oh, yeah. You ain't eating now.
I'm not eating now.
For you.
Now, there was a cool time. Okay, the Saints went to the Super Bowl, I can't remember, 2009 or some shit like that. I don't know when. If I fucked it up, whatever.
Yeah, but when Favre blew it and it was against the Vikings. It's always against the Vikings.
See, now I'm opening old wounds, okay?
Yeah, I remember that game.
Now, here's the thing. Here's what happened in Mississippi. And I'm going to actually call out the company that did it, the store that did it. Name of the company was Cowboy Maloney. It's basically like a mom and pop TV shop around here back when, that was a thing back in 2009. And basically what they did, like the owner of Cowboy Maloney said, if anybody that bought a TV from the beginning of the playoffs to the Super Bowl, if the New Orleans Saints win the Super Bowl, I'm going to give you all a refund. Like, wait, what? Yeah, I'll give you all a refund if they win the Super Bowl. So the news got so big, the NFL actually invited the owner of Cowboy Maloney out to the Super Bowl. And I'm pretty sure he was like sweating the whole time, like, please lose, please lose. Like, let me break Drew Brees' knee or something, shit. So, but of course, history shows that they lost. But anyway, like I just thought that was a funny story. Every time I see the Saints win, I want Cowboy Maloney to go do it again because that's great publicity for him. He got nationwide, publicity for that. So I don't even know.
I'm sure the Saints fans were still a little peeved over the Minneapolis Miracle from a couple years ago, where Well,
I think they were really pissed from last year when they completely got fucked over. I think that was a pass interference call also. Oh, was it? I think so. It wasn't against the Vikings, though. It wasn't against the Vikings. I can't remember who it was. Like I said, I'm not a Saints fan. I just remember that anyway. Yeah. Anyway, we're talking way too much about football. We are not talking balls. No, we're not. We're not. Yeah. But it was a nice surprise. It was a nice surprise for me. Oh, shit. I get to watch another game next week. Like I said. And then that'll be it. Right. I don't care either way. So I guess we could just actually move into the podcast. This is actually a special episode where we're doing, like I said, last week we did, or last decade. We did an end of the year special, best of the year special. So this decade, we're gonna do a best of the 2010s decade, because like I said, a whole decade has passed. We just can't, just let that breeze by and just forget about it, because most people are. We're going to reflect. We're going to review. We're going to recap and see what we thought about the 2010 decade and what our favorite takeaways from it. Before we get into that, we're gonna actually talk about the box office numbers. Okay, so Eli, give it to me. What is the number one movie of the week?
Is it Star Wars again?
It is Star Wars again. So over under $1 billion, Eli.
I hear it's nearing $1 billion. I hear it's making money.
It is.
Yeah.
So it's 900 million or some shit like that.
Holy
so it's not
shit,
quite
really?
$1 billion. Not quite $1 billion. It's close. It's close.
In like 2-3 weeks now.
I think it's like its third week. I think it's the third week out. So that's not bad. 900 million in 3 weeks. So, and I haven't checked to see if it's been released everywhere, anything like that. I'll check it later on. Box Office Mojo has screwed up their site so bad, I don't even like fooling with this thing anymore. They want me to pay now. I'm like, when Gomer pays us for this shit, then I'll start paying for that shit. Number 2, we have Jumanji: The Next Level. We have 3 Little Women. Okay. Didn't know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Number 4, The Grudge. I had no idea this was even out. I didn't know they remade this movie.
Yeah, my kid wants to see it. He was a huge Grudge fan.
Which one though?
All of them.
Okay.
Like even the Japanese one. I had to go to like the Asian markets.
Mm-hmm.
Like here, like there's a bunch of there's a big Hmong population here in St. Paul, and they got their the Asian malls and their markets. I had to go there and get the import because they have like video stands where they sell video games and DVDs and shit. And we had to go searching for like Ju-on 2, all that Japanese horror. He really liked The Grudge, particularly the little boy, the little ghost boy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was really into him when he was younger. So,
well, who was in first? Like Sarah Michelle Gellar? Buffy?
Yeah, the remake, because the American remake had Sarah Michelle Gellar, and
I fell asleep on that one. I didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Yeah, and there's like I think there's like a trillion, at least 3 or 4 of the Americans, but there's like originally they were from Japan, and there's a whole series of them in Japan.
Right. Now then I know like all those movies came from Japan like that. What did they used to call it? It's a special name they used to call
like
those
J
movies.
horror, I think.
I think J horror, that's what it was. That, The Ring, The Eye, some Jessica Alba played in. Yeah.
Yeah. All that shit.
And they were big for a while, and then he just kind of went away.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Yep.
Okay. Number 5, we have Frozen 2. Still hanging in there. Number 6, Spies in Disguise. Like I said, saw that. Yeah, it's okay. Number 7, Knives Out. Knives Out still hanging in there. Good.
It was nominated for a bunch of shit at the Golden Globes.
I bet it was.
Yeah.
It's $240 million, but like I said, it's not like it's got any special effects or
No, it's just
based on
actors.
anything. Yeah, so they probably just pay Daniel Craig most of the money anyway. I heard they even might be making a sequel.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, I heard Daniel Craig wants to make a sequel after this James Bond shit is over. What do we got? Spies in Disguise, Knives Out. Number 8, Uncut Gems. You said it was a good movie. I'm hearing I think it might be like that studio's highest grossing movie. Period.
Oh yeah, the indie and the A24.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Number 9, Bombshell. I think I want to see that. I think I really want to see that.
Yeah, it looks cool. Looks interesting.
Yeah. And number 10, Cats, still hanging in there. Like I said, nobody's seen it. Nobody cares to see it. So yeah, that's it for that one. So yeah, like I said, that's the box office numbers. I was gonna put like the best box office numbers of the decade, but I don't have the numbers in front of me right now. Actually, you know what? I think I do have those numbers in front of me right now. Let's see if I can see how fast I can pull this up.
Do we want to talk about the Golden Globes at all?
We can. Well, you can, because I didn't see it. But yeah, I mean, you can fill me in on some of the Golden Globes. I only saw like the very end of it. First off, this is what I want to know. What the hell did Ricky Gervais say?
Oh, holy shit. He was hilarious.
Okay. Because I'm hearing he got he's getting a lot of controversy right now for some shit he said.
I'm sure. And that's the only reason why I watched the shit. I didn't plan on watching the Golden Globes, but his opening was so fucking hilarious that I sat and ended up watching.
And I know it'll be on YouTube all over the place, tomorrow.
Because I fell asleep watching the next game after the Vikings, like Seattle and I think Philly were playing, and I fell asleep during the second half. When I woke up, it was just getting over, and I got up and I was like getting ready to eat and shit. And then the Golden Globes came on like right after the game, and then I heard his opening monologue, and I was like, damn, he was fucking hilarious. Oh, he was talking so much shit. He roasted Hollywood. It was fucking hilarious.
I'm saying, what did he say? Did he say anything like specific on there, or?
He basically he said something about Epstein didn't kill himself, and I know he's all your friends. He said shit like that. He talked about Marvel. He talked about how he's like, yeah, all actors can't get, there's all they can do now is play superheroes and shit. And there's like they don't really act anymore. Their job is going to the gym and taking steroids, so they can fit into those tight costumes and shit. It's like they should just come out with an award for best jacked up junkie or whatever.
Wow.
He said some more shit about what's the the chick, is it Judi Dench in Cats or something? Oh man, but they blurted it out though because he swore.
Yeah, because I know a couple times he's sworn there because when I heard it, I guess they have it delayed because of him. They don't know what the fuck he's gonna do.
He's like, it's my last time hosting this. I don't fucking care. Yeah, he said he talked about Disney, Amazon, Apple. You guys, because he talked about, you guys are making all these woke shows. But meanwhile, you have like sweatshops in Indonesia. He was telling all the actors. So all you actors who come up and start giving your thank you speeches, don't say any political shit because it doesn't. Because you work for a bunch of companies that do all this shit.
Right.
Yeah, it was funny.
Weinstein's gonna be back in business sooner or later. So.
Just get your award, thank your agent, and fuck off. Yeah, it was funny. It was brutally honest. It's what we all think, and it was hilarious. And that's, you know what? I'm gonna watch this now.
No, because I'm pretty sure it's gonna be everywhere. It's gonna be everywhere tomorrow.
I'm sure it was funny. But for comic book news, it's big for comic book fans. You guys can feel legit now. Joaquin Phoenix won Best Actor for Joker.
Pretty good. Okay.
Yeah. And of course, he did get up in his thank you speech. He did, say some political stuff.
you know that was going to happen. So.
But Joker was nominated for a bunch of shit.
I think you said he won best score, best soundtrack,
best original score. I think it was nominated for writing, and Todd Phillips was nominated for directing, and I think it was nominated for best drama. I think, but it won best actor and original score. So. There you go. A comic book movie is considered real cinema.
Only one.
By the Hollywood elite, yeah.
One can just squeak by. He reminded them just enough of a Scorsese movie, so it could get by.
Oh, Scorsese was in the audience with De Niro. And that's what he said. He goes, yeah, Baby Yoda's in the audience. Oh, no, that's Joe Pesci.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna look at that YouTube because I already know it's on YouTube now, so I'm gonna check that out as soon as I get up. Well, actually, no, I can just watch the show again. I can just watch it from the beginning. I forgot I got a Fire Stick. Yeah. So that's being said, we talked about the Golden Globes. Now we can actually talk about, like I said, we can get into the best of the decade. Let me pull up my notes.
Oh yeah.
Cause like I said, the 2010s passed, and a lot of time, like I said, 10 years has passed, and a lot of times people have forgotten what happened in the last 10 years. Most people can't even remember what happened in the last 5 minutes. Well, yesterday. So it's hard to go back to see what happened. Oh, what was I, where was I 10 years ago? Me personally, I know I lost my job. Matter of fact, think about this, Eli. We started a podcast. Honestly, that's the one thing that we started in 2010. I mean, in the 2010s decade, like that. Because remember, we talked about Star Wars, stuff like that. Now, we got all this hoopla and outrage over The Last Jedi. Remember, I didn't even review The Last Jedi because I was so broke at the time, I couldn't even review it. I didn't even go see the movie. Like, if you go back and listen to that episode, I don't even remember if it was on Comic Bullies or was it on the other one that we did. Whatever it was, I didn't see it, so I couldn't review it. So I'm just sitting there looking at the reviews and watching people bitching about it. I'm like, what the fuck are people bitching about? It's a Star Wars movie. It can't be that bad. So that's what I was thinking. That being said, now we can actually talk about the I almost hit the erase button by accident. So what do we want to start with first? You want to start with movies first?
Sure.
Okay, we're just going to do top 5. We're not going to do 20 or 11 or some shit like that. We're just going to go back and forth. Shit, I'm going to let you go first.
All right. I just listed top 5 movies of the decade. Should I just go through all my whole list?
Well, we'll go back and forth. Yeah. I mean,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So number 5, I got Rogue One, Star Wars.
Okay.
Now, I know you didn't like it.
I
but
didn't.
this is for me. This is the last hour is a literal war in the stars. It's X-wings and TIE fighters and all the cool shit that I loved about the old movies. And it wasn't about. It wasn't in that Star Wars, or I mean the Skywalker saga thing. It was kind of outside of that. It's just, but it was it basically made me think about Star Wars and like war, how war and soldiers and the sacrifice that they put, the valor, the sacrifices that soldiers go through, and they put it into a Star Wars movie. So they made me think about the real world through a Star Wars movie. And that's what I really liked about it. And plus it had, Vader kicking mad ass at the end.
The only part I like, but that's just me.
So that's my number 5. Because hey, Star Wars returned this past decade, so I got to represent it somehow. And
at the end of the day, 2019, I feel like was the year of Star Wars. I mean, I feel like if you're a Star Wars fan, you should be happy. You had that awesome game, Fallen Order. You had The Mandalorian. You had Rise of Skywalker. There was some other shit that came out too. I'm trying to think. Can't remember. But anyway, hell, that's enough. You should be happy with that.
Yeah, but just because Star Wars, the return of Star Wars, and that's my favorite movie out of this new batch of Star Wars movies. So.
Really, that's still your favorite? I don't know.
Yeah. I love that. I love that shit.
Okay.
It's got no lightsabers in it either.
Okay, that is true. It's just got Donnie Yen doing the. Oh, I'm glad you talked about the Rogue One. Like I said, I don't like the movie, but I did watch it. Matter of fact, I marathon Star Wars the whole thing a couple days ago, and it was one thing that Donnie Yen said that actually jumped out at me. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
So remember George Lucas had this crazy ass idea of what he wanted for the new trilogy. He was like the wheels that the people that make the Force and shit like that.
Guardians of the Wills, yeah.
Yeah. Donnie Yen says that. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Okay, now because that was never mentioned any EU or anything like that before. Like there's some shit out of George Lucas' crazy ass mind, right?
I think it was like in his first script. It was like called The Star or something, the Journal of, or something about the life and times of Luke Starkiller from the journals of the Wills or something, episode whatever, the Star Wars. That was like his original title.
Oh,
back
okay.
in the day, yeah. And but that splinter of the very first Star Wars novel, like the sequel, you want to count as a sequel, was called Splinter in the Mind's Eye, which was released right after the original Star Wars movie, and that was about trying to find a kyber crystal. And them Vader chasing after Luke and Leia and them, and very old book, Splinter in the Mind's Eye, but that sort of references that too. So
it's just weird. It's like they not using the EU, but they're using the EU.
Yeah, they are. They're borrowing bits and pieces of it, the old stories, the legends.
Yeah, I'm starting to notice that now. Okay. Oh, it's time for me to go. Okay.
Yeah.
Number 5 of the decade, Black Panther.
Okay.
I know you didn't like the movie.
I liked. What the hell?
I'm just saying, but I started looking at the movie and I started just really analyzing the movie and thinking about it. It's one of those movies that I did like it sticks with me. Basically, my top 5 list isn't about awards or anything like that, or screw the box. I'm like, what movie did I watch the most? Like, what movie did I just keep repeating over and over again, just watch over and over again? Like, which movie did I marathon? Black Panther's on that list. Like, out of the top 5 movies, is one of those lists. It's one of those movies that like really made me sit back and think. Visually is what I want to see. It spoke directly to me. Like I said, I wanted to see a Black utopia on screen. I saw that. I saw Michael B. Jordan really put a really great performance in there where he played Killmonger, like one of the first good Marvel villains. Yeah. Where he was so good, he actually made you think like, damn, maybe he has the right idea and the good guys had the wrong idea. You know, it made me think about it like that.
Yeah, they should have had a hashtag Killmonger was right.
Right, that's one of the name by episodes. You know, yeah. I mean, like I said, for a point, he made some good shit. Then he kind of went off the deep end and started saying some insane shit. But the point that the good guys have was the wrong point. Yeah. They needed to be somewhere in the middle of that. And at the end, he made them realize, okay, maybe I do need to, think about what I'm doing differently. Yeah. And it brought it to the point. First, just the movie itself. Like I said, the first act of the movie was a James Bond movie. For me, if it was just that, I would have been satisfied with that. Second movie, it changed Killmonger came in, started saying, y'all are fucking up, y'all did this to me, and
Yeah.
all of that, you're not protecting it. And I'm like, oh, okay, this movie is like really going there.
Yeah.
You know. Now the third act just turned into another Marvel movie. I was fine with that. I'm cool with Marvel movies. So me just watching all that, put it together, I was satisfied with it. I was happy with it. Watched it over and over again, especially since, you know, I think I went to like see the movie like 4 times in the theaters.
Mhm.
Not
I
because
saw
I'm
it a couple,
woke or
yeah.
anything like that. Because at the end of the day, like I said, it's a comic book podcast, and Black Panther is one of my favorite heroes. Like I'm not one of those people that just never heard of him and just want to just see. No, I was a fan of the comic of the lore. Read damn near every Black Panther comic that was out until this coat shit came out, or whatever. But up until then, I read everything. So I'm sitting here looking at the comic. I'm looking at the movie and seeing all the comic references in there. So they're speaking to me. Oh, that came from Don McGregor's run. Oh, that came from Chris Priest's run. Oh, that came from Richard Hudlin run. I even see some influence of Coach runs in there. He just came in. And so I'm seeing all this stuff, seeing Shuri. Just talking about the movie now is getting me excited. 5. Okay, you go.
No, I know. We could talk about it now because
No. We're not
That's
gonna be
what
here.
I
This is
liked
not gonna
about
be
it.
a
No.
Black Panther podcast. I have
No.
other movies I want to talk about too, and I'm probably gonna get just excited about them too.
But no, I'm gonna say Killmonger made that movie for me. I mean, especially that museum scene, because for me, what I liked about it touched on Native American issues more than most movies do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that scene where he's in the museum, that's patriation, the repatriation. That's the native artifacts. That's dealing with taking back our artifacts that are in the museums.
Mhm.
Because we deal with that. And natives, that's a native issue. And this whole thing, that resentment he had towards Wakanda,
Mhm.
that's the same. That's like that deals with our blood quantum and how some natives can't even be recognized as and become part of a tribe because of their blood quantum. And you know,
And that's how you looked at it, and how I looked at it is like
Yeah.
how African Americans can't go back to Africa.
yeah, and that's and in the end, Black Panther kind of made me sad for American Black people.
Yeah.
Because y'all don't have traditions. You can't go back to those African roots and your ceremonies and your tribal
Right.
ways like natives can.
Like
Because
our
we're
last
from,
names came from our slave masters.
yeah, our native ways still are rooted in this continent. So we have our language and our traditions and our cultures and our ceremonies, but you guys had to make up your own. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You know, you and that was lost. So I can tell how much it meant to this, even though it was a fantasy, it was a
Right.
made up country, but this was all about what if
Right. There
there
was
was
one
no
African country
colonization.
that
What-
wasn't
yeah.
colonized. Right.
what if there was no colonization, and what if Black people prospered? And it was powerful. So
Yeah,
fuck you,
I mean,
like that
I know
movie.
a lot of that symbolism kind of flew over people's head, but I thought, and another thing, like you said, like Killmonger, a lot of people saying Killmonger took over the movie, and like the actor who played T'Challa kind of played to the background. That was purposeful. That was done on purpose, because the thing of the movie's called Black Panther. It's not called T'Challa. So the movie, in my opinion, was about the mantle
Yeah.
and what people that are in the control of the mantle do with that power. The movie is about T'Challa. The movie is about Killmonger, and the movie is about T'Chaka also. All 3 of those kings and what they do with their power when they're in the seat of the power. So the Black Panther mantle is the star of the movie, not T'Challa. You know, that's what I got from it.
And you needed Killmonger to check that fantasy. Like,
Right.
okay, what if there was a country, this isolationist country, rich, prospering African country that ignored the plight of Black people around the world? How
Right.
fucked up would that be? You know?
And I even made that comparison before. Like, okay, in a fantasy setting, that's what we're talking about. But in a real world setting, you can also make that seem like, what about prosperous Black people that are millionaires that turn their back on the community?
Yeah.
Oh, I had my money. I came from, this neighborhood. Like all these NBA players and football players like that, they get all even stuff like that, and they never go back to the neighborhood they came from.
Mhm.
Never give any money back. Never give any money to the country they came from. And they pride themselves on not coming back to that. So you could look at them like Wakanda. Oh, they're living in this utopian society, but what
Yeah.
about the people that you left behind?
Yeah.
No.
Or like for natives, it's casino reses. I mean, everyone thinks we all got casino reses. No, we don't.
Right.
You know, And there are casino reses that basically lock their memberships of, oh no, nobody can join our member or nobody can join our tribe because then we got to share the profits. You know what I mean? So
okay. So
like I said, it was one of the most native movies I've seen in a long time.
It was one of the blackest movies I've ever seen. So
yeah.
Let me say, okay, we can move on to number 4.
Number 4, number 4, I got The Raid.
Okay, cool. Your list is like way more refined than mine. Like,
yeah. Well, I go by. Well, yeah, I've seen this movie 1,000 times. I love it. Both movies, The Raid Redemption and The Raid 2. Mm-hmm. But I'm also going by influence of this decade.
And you're right. It was there. I never seen the movie myself, but even I know of the influences The Raid had. Yeah.
Without the Raid movies, you got no John Wick. You got no Daredevil hall fight scenes. Mm-hmm. You don't got a lot of fucking the stunt choreography and the fight choreography we see now. Captain America, all that shit. It all goes back to what those guys are doing in The Raid. You know, those fight scenes still hold up. You know, it's just the next level of action cinema. You know, so I got The Raid, number 4.
Okay, Eli, you about to hate me.
Okay.
Okay, here's my number 4. Batman v Superman. I don't care. I don't care.
Well, God bless you.
I can't leave it off, man. Look, I can't leave it off because I'm looking at how, like, all the movies that I've seen, like, multiple times. I can't count how many times I've watched this movie. I'll sit there and just marathon all the time. If I'm going on a trip and I got to go from here to Florida or Texas or Atlanta, the first thing I do is I need to download a movie so I can watch it. What do I need to download? Batman v Superman, but not just the regular Batman v Superman, the ultimate 3-hour cut of Batman v Superman. And I'm watching it the whole way through the whole time. I watched the movie so many times, Eli. I can quote the movie. I wrote all kind of think pieces on it. Look, I understand the movie has flaws. I get that. I'm not saying it's the perfect movie. Everything that people are saying bad about the movie, I completely understand about it. I'm just saying what I like, what the movie speaks to me about it. Maybe because I'm just such a Superman fan, just seeing a live action Superman, it sells me on it. I don't know. Maybe I had Stockholm Syndrome. I don't know. But it's there. Ben Affleck, to me, is the best Batman of all time. Yeah. That's my Batman. You know, the warehouse scene that was in there, that's the best Batman live action scene that's ever been made. You know?
True.
True. I don't even hate Lex Luthor. Let me back it up. Because I know I'm losing some people when I say this. Okay. Yes, it was a bad performance. But I understand what they were trying to do. I understand they were trying to make turn Lex Luthor into a Mark Zuckerberg. I also understand that in the movie that they were trying to make him like a wimpy dude in the movie, but the more the movie went to the end of it, the more he started showing himself being more confident, more sure of himself. Basically, he was putting on an act, and that was the whole point of him. He was in dual identity just like Batman and Superman were in dual identity. I can talk about this movie all day long.
You know what? I don't really mind Lex Luthor. Mm-hmm. I don't mind a lot of that movie. Well, yeah, I do. It comes down to like pacing for me.
I agree with you. Yeah. I understand. Like I said, if people don't like the movie because of this, and to be honest with you, the theatrical version of it, the pacing is horrible. I walked in the movie like, oh, that shit's terrible. But for some reason, the 3-hour version of it works for me. Like all the extra stuff they put in there, like all the extra beginning in Africa. Because honestly, I thought that the African scene at the beginning with Superman fighting that warlord, I thought that whole thing about it was brilliant. The whole scene about it was brilliant because it brings up an interesting conversation. Like, okay, they didn't really go into detail about what they were doing, but basically the CIA was supplying that guy. They were supplying the African warlord, but they didn't want anybody to know. So when Superman went down there, he's fucking with the CIA, but he doesn't know it because they have a guy down there because they know he's trying to stabilize that regime because the guy that's after him is way worse than him. So they put that guy in power for a reason. But when Superman goes down there and beats up that warlord, all they're going to do is just put an even worse guy in front of him. So Superman is fucking with world politics, thinking he's doing the right thing, but he's really not. So he's actually causing problems in the planet just by even existing. So I thought that was a pretty interesting thing that, Zack Snyder or whoever wrote that shit, I don't know, put that out there. Did they capitalize on the idea or flesh out the idea as much as they should have? No. I agree with they didn't, but like I said, it's enough of that movie that really made me just like I can just watch the movie all day. Look, Wonder Woman's in it. Gal Gadot, she was awesome. Her theme song was fucking awesome. That fucking guitar riff when she just slicing up Doomsday and shit. You can pause that movie at any time and everything looks like a comic book panel. You can pause it any time, doesn't matter. So, like I said, top 4. But we can keep going.
Okay. Well, bless your heart.
See, I know the higher we go up, the more I'm going to lose you. I know.
Yeah. All right. What are we on? Number 3?
Number 3 now.
Number 3, I have The Revenant. Yeah.
The bear movie?
The bear movie. Bear fucker. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Leo DiCaprio gets fucked by a bear and left for dead.
Well, I'm sold.
So this is based on a true story of Hugh Glass. He was an old, fur trapper back in the 1800s, in the frontier of the Old West, if you want, or the Old North. And it's just about him trying to survive. His son gets killed, murdered, and he has to go on revenge. But he's left for dead. He gets attacked by a bear, and he's left for dead by everybody. And he basically has to survive and get revenge. And it's him braving the elements, surviving, the harsh environments of this winter wilderness, and all the obstacles that he must overcome. But it gets really meditative. There's very long shots of nature. The movies, it starts out as a revenge movie, and the nature, it explores the nature of revenge and how it's a human of everybody's after revenge in this movie. I mean, Hugh Glass is, he's after Fitzgerald, Tom Hardy's character, who killed his son. Tom Hardy's character hates Indians because he was attacked and almost scalped by Indians. Then you have the chief, the Indian chief, who's after his daughter because his daughter was kidnapped. So everybody's got a reason for vengeance and shit. But that's just part of it, because you take that, because that vengeance is human nature. Then you juxtapose it with the natural war, just nature, regular old nature. You bring the bear. Bear just comes and bear is just being a bear, protecting its, young. Right. Fucks up Leo DiCaprio's character. You have the wilderness, that in the cold environments, the winter, the elements. That's nature just being nature. There's no malicious intent. There's no human motivation, no human emotion in nature. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So you have human nature versus regular nature, and it becomes a story of survival. And then it also becomes a metaphor, him surviving through this old country, this old America, is just another symbol of culture, that old culture of America, the Native American culture and the traditions, how they struggle to survive. And the environment is now struggling to survive with all our quote unquote civilizations. So it's just a very deep movie around this revenge story. And of course it's very, the cinematography is great. The camera work is great. The elements, the wilderness is just a character, because it's so, the environment is so much a part of the movie, and the harsh, violent nature of the environment that's just so much part of the movie too. The cinematography is great. Leo DiCaprio finally won his Oscar for this role, but Tom Hardy's great in it too. Tom Hardy his performance is great. Everybody, Hux, the guy who plays Hux in Star Wars, he's in it. They're all great. They have real native actors in it with real, authentic portrayals of native language. The opening scene, the battle scene is dope, where the Indians attack. So yeah, you got Black Panther, I got Revenant.
Okay.
So yeah, The Revenant. That's my number 3.
Okay. Damn it, Eli, you picking real movies. All right. So you had your number 3, my number 3. Okay, my number 3, Civil War.
Okay.
I'm gonna just put it in there. Okay. So yeah, the rest of the list gonna be Marvel. I'm just letting you know that right now. So yeah, reason I'm picking Civil War in there, first off, it was just a bunch of action. Well, first off, Black Panther was in it. Then, like I said,
debut of Black Panther.
it was a bunch of action in there. And one thing I like about it that the actual conversation that it brought up with people about like the opposing sides of Captain America and Iron Man, I knew it was effective because I heard people arguing on both sides. Like, why are they arguing? Of course, Captain America's side makes the most sense. Why are they arguing? Of course, Iron Man makes the most sense. I'm like, well, that's why they're arguing. Because you two are arguing over it. Of course, they're going to argue over the situation. But just, like I said, just the fact that it's just the first time I saw, like, at the time, it was the most comic book movie I've ever seen. Like, you just had the parking lot fight with all this shit going on all over the place. I actually looking back at it, I actually liked what Zemo was doing. And if you think about it, Zemo actually wasn't even really a villain. Because he was just responding to the shit they were doing, just, blowing up Sokovia and shit like that. And he realizing that, okay, if you guys, like, just like the government's trying to put checks on you guys, I'm trying to put a check on you also, but I'm just doing my own way. So, yeah, I'm still putting up there. And maybe because Spider-Man, first time in the MCU, I don't know, it just tickles my brain, the way all that shit was just in there. I don't know. It speaks to me. So, yeah, number 3.
Well, Civil War had everybody debating.
Yeah.
I remember when it came out, we all debated who's right, Cap right, or is fucking.
And that's when we had Eric on the show. He was debating.
Yeah. We were all. It basically raised all this political issues that we all did. Not everybody agreed on, and that was the point of the movie.
Right.
Everybody has a relevant point, and how do we compromise? And it was. What was sad is because Cap and Tony couldn't compromise, and that's why they fought.
Right, and then not only that, it also ties into other stuff that was going on in those movies also, because Cap and Tony, if you look at those other movies before they were in there, they had some like secret animosity against each other.
Yeah.
Because Cap was looking at Tony like, oh, you just another spoiled, rich, pretty boy, just like your dad was. I don't really have too much respect for you. And Tony is looking at the guy that his dad has always compared him to since birth. The guy that he can never measure up to. So they've always had some animosity before him. This movie, when they actually fought, just brought that shit out.
Yeah.
And so it just came to a head. So yeah, that's my number 3. Like I said, I watched the movie repeatedly so many times.
Yeah. No, it's dope.
Oh,
okay.
even the opening scene with they false crossbone, man. That could be a ending movie in one of those lesser movies like Ant-Man and shit. That could be the ending scene.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
The Cap movies are like my favorite movies.
They're the best movies because they go all out. Okay, number 2.
Okay. My number 2 is I got Avengers, the first one.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and this is If I named every comic book movie I loved, I'd have your list. It'd be nothing but comic book movies.
Right, because you have to be the real movie enthusiast. We can't both be, like geeks over this shit.
Avengers basically covers Marvel. And the reason why I chose the first Avengers is because if the first Avengers wasn't as good as it was,
they'd be the DC
none of the other movies would have been made.
Right. They'd be the DCU.
Yeah. The success of the very first Avengers movie paved the way for Civil War, for fucking Winter Soldier, for Black Panther and Guardians of the Galaxy, all my favorite, Homecoming and all that shit. So, yeah, and I saw Avengers like, I don't know, 4 or 5 times that summer. That was like my movie this summer where I just kept going back like, yeah, fuck yeah. It was like a new Star Wars movie to me. Yeah, hell yeah. It made me feel like a kid again. I mean, I was already I was already into the Marvel movies. I did see all the other MCU movies, but I thought, they're all right. They're all right at best. You know what I'm saying?
I'll say this. The Avengers, in my opinion, is the most impactful and influential movie of the 2010s.
Yeah.
It's like, you want to say, when did The Matrix come out? 2000? 99?
99.
Okay, so you can't really count that. But I'd go on a limb and say, even though it came out in 99, The Matrix was the most influential movie of the last decade. Of the 2000 decade.
Yeah.
Now, The Avengers was by far the most influential movie of this decade, because this is the movie that just made, superhero movies are the thing. Because superhero movies always been around. Like Spider-Man movie might come out every now and then, X-Men movie might come out every now and then, but they didn't just dominate.
Yeah. And we had those shitty Fantastic Four movies.
Yeah, and shitty
that no one gave a fuck about.
Green Lantern, some shit come out, Ghost Rider, But when Avengers hit, it's just like, okay, this is the theme now. Like, we need to start chasing the Avengers. So and it wasn't just superhero movies. regular ass movies started. We need to be like the Avengers. Fast and the Furious was a movie about car thieves that try to steal VCRs. That's what the first movie did. Now, in the post Avengers world, they're fighting nuclear arm dealers. Over drones and shit like that. They're the Avengers.
He's fighting a cyborg, and he's fighting Winter Soldier.
He's fighting a cyborg. They're being, drafted by, undercover secret agents nobody ever heard of because they're the best of the best of the best, and they're basically superheroes in cars. They can't be killed. Vin Diesel can't be killed in these movies.
Yeah, they work for Shield.
Basically, yeah. So they went from car thieves to basically Avengers.
Yeah.
And it's so many other franchises just like too. Everything has to be a cinematic universe now. What was that Mummy movie or some shit?
Yeah, that tanked. Yeah.
Right, because we gotta be, so the Avengers started shit like this is what every movie has been chasing now. Good or bad. You can argue over both whether it had a good influence or a bad influence, but it's still either way the most influential movie of this decade.
Yeah. It was like what you said, lightning in a bottle.
Yep.
If Avengers bombed, that would have been it. That would have been it for. I mean, they might have still made Marvel movies, but would we give a fuck? Would Endgame made $1 billion? You know what I mean?
Right. Because honestly, when the movie came, it was a movie that nobody thought would work. They're like, "There's no way this movie can work," and it worked. And it did, and audience loved it, and that paved the way. That legitimized the MCU and legitimized comic book movies. That's the reason why I can go to Target and buy a fucking Avengers shirt. Right, because it's funny, like when the trailers of this movie came out, nobody knew who the fuck these people were. Other than Hulk. And even in the theater, people were like, why the fuck is that the Incredible Hulk? Why is he here?
Yeah.
Yeah. They didn't know who Captain America was. They damn sure didn't know who Hawkeye was.
Yeah, no one really knew these characters.
Right. Even though they had movies, nobody saw those movies, so no one cared.
Yeah, they weren't, because we're comic book fans, we saw them, but the general public didn't. Yeah, Avengers made comic books popular to non-comic book fans, and that's what mattered. Because we're in the bag. I mean, we saw those shitty Fantastic Four movies and shit,
right.
But non-comic book fans, the general public gave a shit. The general public knows who Thanos is. Who the fuck would have ever thought that? You know what I mean?
Right. And I kept telling people about it. Wait till they show. And even in Avengers, he was teasing Avengers. We went nuts when we saw Thanos.
Yeah, I was like, Thanos, like, holy shit, they're digging deep. Like, I hadn't even thought of the name Thanos since high school.
Right. So you got half of the crowd going fucking nuts over it, and the other crowd like, who the fuck is that?
I like Thanos, like, really? Holy shit. Like, I could think of like 10 other Marvel villains before I think of Thanos.
Right.
I mean, I didn't understand the licensing at the time and all that shit. Like, where's Dr. Doom? Where's Magneto? And blah, 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 blah. But where's Kang?
Right. They had to go with the guy that they had the rights to.
Yeah. And I was like, but Thanos, like, damn, that's like a really deep pull. Right. But now everybody in the world knows who the fuck Thanos is.
It is weird. Like, when in movie, every girlfriend asks their nerdy ass boyfriend, wait, who is this?
Yeah.
I'll explain it to you after we get out of the theater,
And it all goes.
That's another influence. The end credit scene.
Yeah.
We are so programmed for that now. We'll watch a romantic comedy and stay after the end credit scenes just to see, just in case something pops up.
Yeah.
They're not gonna have a sequel to Book Smart or some shit.
Yeah, but it all goes back to the Avengers. The Avengers are the catalyst for the success of comic book movies, and that's why it made my list.
Okay. Didn't make my list, but I see what you're saying. Okay. Am I next?
Yeah.
That was your number two? Okay, so...
That was number two.
Okay, that was your number two, so my number two. My number two is Endgame.
Okay.
Okay. Now, it's funny because you said Avengers, and I put Endgame in there and it's funny if you watch Avengers and you watch the progression from where they were in Avengers to Endgame, where you got 50 fucking heroes just all over the place, when this movie was just 6. And 6 in 2012 blew our minds. Now we're in 2019 and we got 60 or 100, whatever the fuck is on there, and that's where we're going from that one. And like I said, it's another 3-hour movie that I can watch at any time. It has some of the most awesome cinematic moments that I've ever seen, me personally. Cap catching Thor's hammer, throwing lightning at Thanos, the on your left scene with everybody coming out, all that shit. That just Just great. Even the fact that it's the beginning movie, like a lot of people don't like the beginning of the movie, but I thought it was awesome. Just the fact that just go in there, just kill Thanos. Just begin up, you're like, where the fuck you going with this? Okay. Then you see, Cap in therapy. You're like, wait, what? But it was interesting seeing them do that stuff because, like I said, Chris Evans is an underrated actor, so he can do those things.
Yeah.
People upset about, the Professor Hulk. I loved it. I thought it was awesome. I knew that was the only way they can go with it to do Professor Hulk, so I was happy with that. They made Hawkeye cool. What the fuck? People forget about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I don't think I have to explain this movie too much because it was just an awesome movie. Like the whole theater cried when Tony Stark died. That should be enough for that. So yeah.
And that's what Marvel has done. I keep saying that. Marvel made us give a shit about these people.
Right.
They made us give a shit about character. They emphasized on characters and making them human. And that's why we related to them. And that's why, we identified and, why it resonated with audiences because we cared about these characters. So
yeah, so that's why it's my number 2. So you can go ahead and give me your number 1 movie of the decade.
number 1, yeah, I was wondering where to put this, and then I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna put it as number 1 because it's that badass. Mad Max, Fury Road.
Nice. Okay. I was wondering where it was going to be on your list.
Yeah, I was like, just because I think it represents that sort of retro trend that's been going on this past. I think retro, going back to the past, digging into our dirty past has been like a thing this past decade. I think that part of it is because of the MCU, comic book movies, Stranger Things, going back to the 80s and just this whole retro thing. And this is another remake. This is a reboot. Taking an 80s franchise and rebooting it and making it, but not only did they reboot it, they made it relevant for today. It totally touches upon things that we deal with today, the environment, the nature of, again, man and war and where we're headed as a species on this planet. And it's just on top of all that shit, it's just an awesome fucking movie. It's got some of the coolest action I've seen.
Visuals too. Visuals were insane.
Visually, it's just so, it looks awesome. The action's awesome. The stunts are awesome. When you find out how little CGI was put into this fucking movie, it's crazy that no one fucking died.
Right. Or maybe they didn't say anything.
And George Miller, who's in his 70s, the fact that he did this in his 70s is crazy. That this is old school filmmaking at its finest. Like, they don't do this really anymore. Disney doesn't do this. It's all green screen. You're all on a sound
They'll
stage.
green screen
Star
anything.
Wars.
They'll green screen a gun in Nick Fury's hand.
Yeah, I mean, Star Wars is getting to be that way now. They rarely go on location anymore. This is all on location. That's the thing about the Rev, why I put the Revenant on there. That's all in location. That's all out in the gritty outdoors, braving the elements and, putting actors out there and capturing real environments. And that's what this movie did. They went out to a desert and filmed these crazy ass stunts in camera and then also made it matter. It made the movie matter. So this is a reboot that is relevant to today still. So that's why I got it on there.
So Mad Max, Fury Road, number 1 movie of the decade. Cool. My number 1 movie, only one movie left, is Avengers: Infinity War.
Okay.
That's one. Had to set you up again. Yeah, Infinity War is the best movie of the decade, better than Endgame, because if you just watch that movie just by itself, that ending shocked everybody because it's the Avengers. They're the good guys. They always win.
Yeah. I didn't see it opening weekend, so it kind of got spoiled for me. But
yeah, it got spoiled. But everybody else was just shocked. Like, it was one of those Empire Strike Back type of ending, where you think Luke's gonna beat Vader. Nah, he gets the shit beat out of him. Same thing with this one where the bad guy wins. And those type of movies are just wait, that's not supposed to happen. They're the Avengers. They're supposed to be the Earth's mightiest heroes. They're supposed to be the strongest superheroes we ever seen in a movie theater. And you tell me one guy can beat them? But it was interesting how they do it because the way the movie paced itself, it's like it was a race. Like maybe the Avengers could win, or maybe Thanos could win, or maybe the Avengers did one thing differently they could have won, or if Thanos made one simple mistake, he would have lost. So it's like a race to see through the end. At the end, Thanos won, and the reason he won because basically he kept saying, because that's the thing about the Avengers Infinity War is that Thanos is the protagonist of the movie. Okay. So yeah, that if you really think about it that way, and he's basically saying that the reason he's going to beat them is because his will is stronger than them, because he's willing to go to certain lengths that the Avengers won't go to. The Avengers, like when they get to that point, they're just like, nah, we can't do that because we're the Avengers, we're the good guys, we can't go that far. Thanos like, no, I'm gonna take it as far as I need to go, and because he willing to take it that extra step, he can win. Like if one little bitty thing went wrong, if Thor would have came a second earlier, if he aimed for the head, if Star-Lord didn't flip out, people still pissed off at him for that.
That pussy whip motherfucker.
Right. Just the interaction that everybody was with each other. It gave me the Rocket and Thor group combo that I never knew I wanted. Just watching Guardians with Thor hanging with each other, or Tony and Doctor Strange bickering with each other, just like that shit. Yeah, man, I just watched the movie just over and over again. Plus, it wasn't 3 hours long. It was a little bit simpler. Get in, get out, and just that shocking ending where everybody's just like, wait, what? Just watching everybody's face in the theater, like, the movie can't end like, and then the credits roll. Like, it just can't end like this. Yeah, that's it. Go home. Yeah. So, yeah, that's what I got. So, that's our top 10 movies of the top 5 movies of the decade. That's it. So, I'm trying to think what we're gonna kind of speed this a little bit more. But I guess next we're going to do TV shows.
Sure.
Okay, I'll let you go first because I know your list's gonna be more respectable than mine.
Okay, are we just doing back and forth like before?
Yeah, just back and forth. Yeah.
Okay, my number 5 TV show of the decade, I got Walking Dead.
I knew number 5. I didn't expect it to be that low.
Nah, it's Walking Dead. I haven't stayed with it. I haven't watched it after The Watchmen came on. I fell behind. But what can I say? I mean, I'm a horror fan. I love the comic. This was a big deal for me, and I was really into those first few seasons, like religiously into it, and not being able to talk about shit because I had read the comics. That was like that was a struggle. The struggle not to let spoilers away, because all of a sudden the whole world, like non-comic book fans, were all over this shit. And I knew about what certain things that had happened, and I couldn't talk about shit. So that was a good 5 years of keeping my mouth shut. So just on that, it's made my list. So half a decade I spent concerned about this show. So, and
it still comes on, right?
It's still on, yeah.
Okay. So. All right, cool. Number 5, my list. What I got here? Oh, here's the thing, Eli. We're gonna just do shows that came out 2010 and above, because that was one show that I'm mad that I couldn't put on the list. And you know what that show was? This didn't make the list, but it's Community. I
got Community on there.
2009 doesn't count.
Yeah, but it still came out. They had like fucking 5 seasons though.
True. Well, no, they had 6.
Does it have 6? Yeah, it did have 6.
Yeah, because it came on Yahoo.
Yeah, but it was at it came out the end of 2009.
Okay, we'll count it.
Yeah,
since it's on your list,
it's on my list, man.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna just keep going with my list. What I got in, because I was gonna put it, but I was like, it's 2009. I'm gonna put it. But anyway, number 5, Atlanta.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I said, Donald Glover has shown that he's just a fucking genius. This show was amazing. It's weird, trippy. It's pretty much just like a open platform where he can make any episode that he wants, and it works. It's just sometimes it's like a love story, sometimes it's episodic, sometimes it's a complete story going on, sometimes it's like a fantasy show, but it's always seemed like it's a narrative that's going through the end of the season, which I don't know how he makes that work, but he made it work. So
sometimes there's there's elements of comedy, but then it goes into drama, and there's like that one, like where it almost gets into horror.
Right.
Like there's some creepy scenes, like Florida Man and all that shit.
Florida. He introduced the word of Florida Man.
Yeah.
We didn't know that was a thing until we started. Oh damn, people are crazy in Florida.
Yeah. Yeah. So no, Atlanta's great. I love that show. It didn't make my top 5, but
Cool. That's cool. I'm like I said, I know your list is gonna be more respectable. So you give me number 4.
Number 4, I got Rick and Morty.
I've never seen the episode, but okay.
Animated. It's basically South Park meets Doctor Who. This crazy genius scientist and his neurotic little grandson go on these adventures through time and space and fuck with alternate realities, and it's just a wild, trippy show. It's hilarious, but it also gets very dark, and there's some really dark shit on there where it gets, there's some fucked up. It gets fucked up at times. But it's also it can get really poignant and heartfelt at times too. So yeah, Rick and Morty.
Okay, cool. Don't really have an opinion because, like I said, I've never seen it, but I've heard a lot of things about it, especially the stupid shit like Pickle Rick and people are trashing McDonald's.
Yeah.
Number 4, I struggled to put this on the list, but I'm gonna put this on the end because it was so fucking awesome. American Crime Story. Now, for those who don't know what that is, American Crime Story was that show where the People versus OJ came on. So,
okay.
Yeah, that one. So, like I said, it was actually a complete whole TV show. I think it was like 10 episodes for the first one, and then the second season was the Giovanni Versace murder. Now they have a third one coming out this year, but I don't think they said what's going to be. Maybe like Eric the Menendez brothers. I don't know what it's going to be. We'll see what it's going to be from there. But just the OJ shit alone was just mind blowing to me. It took me back as a 14-year-old, whatever the fuck I was, watching the OJ chase, bringing up some stuff I didn't realize was going on.
Really? You're only 14?
I can't remember. I can't remember how old I was, and I want to say I was 14.
How old are you? I'm like old as fuck now.
I'm 40.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm 45. Okay, not that bad.
Yeah, not that bad. But yeah, so it took me back to that time when I was a teenager and just reliving it all the time and just reliving, the whole thing. It took me back like, since my mind was so young, it was a lot of stuff I didn't realize that was going on at the time. That it fleshed out a lot of stuff behind the scenes. It didn't never came out right out and say, did OJ did it? But at the same time, it kind of said, yeah, OJ did it. Basically, Robert Kardashian was a piece of shit, even though rest in peace. Basically, that's what broke up the Kardashian marriage. It's so much crazy stuff that happened there when you connect the dots like, oh, man. Okay. Hell, one of the Kardashians might be OJ's kids. All kind of crazy shit. Really? Yeah. The one that don't look like the rest of them. That you can tell. You look at me like, yeah, it's you. Yeah, but that's why it's on my list. So, yeah.
All right. So my number 3, I have Game of Thrones.
Okay.
The last few episodes of the final season might have dropped the ball.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be higher on your list.
But I gotta admit, the show was dope. It was something I look forward to every year for a lot of years. This decade, sparked conversations. Brought non-geeks together. My sister, who doesn't like any of this shit. She's not into comic books or fantasy or Lord of the Rings or any of that shit, but she got into Game of Thrones. All of a sudden, she's talking about dragons and fucking magical spells and shit. But the show really dove into the characters and why characters did things. And it was just very riveting television for a long time. It's just too bad it didn't end as much as cool as we thought. But I gotta give it props because it was cool. It was cool for a while. And
I never seen an episode, but it was all over my time feed. So
yeah, so Game of Thrones, my number 3 spot.
Oh, my number 3. Where am I? Okay, my number 3. And it's like I said, I'm gonna feel you rolling your eyes even when I say this, Eli, but I don't care. The Flash.
I almost put that on my list.
Oh, really? Okay.
It almost made my list.
Okay,
but we're only doing 5. So.
We're only doing 5. Yeah, like I said, I get it. Just like you said, Game of Thrones fell off in the last couple of seasons. Has the Flash been as good as it is now as it was? No, it's not. It's falling off also. But that first season, like the first 2 or 3 seasons,
first 2, especially the first season,
season was insane. Yeah. It was blowing my mind because it gave me everything that I wanted. It wasn't like Smallville where he's becoming a superhero. He's learning. No, he's Flash. He's in there doing all insane shit, fighting all insane bad guys. He has an overarching villain that's trying to take. And the way they wrote that shit, it was awesome. Like, yeah, Flash technically in the timeline supposed to be older, but I wanted to fuck with him, so I went back in time, kill his mom. Awesome shit, man. I just love it. I almost put Arrow on there, but Flash was just that much better of a show. Because Arrow, like, first couple seasons was awesome too. Especially he was just like murdering people left and right and shit.
Yeah. I was tempted to put one of the CW shows because I was into those shows for a long time.
Yeah.
Until like the last few years, I haven't really watched any of them. But
yeah.
Out of those ones, it would have been the Flash.
Yeah, because the Flash was a much better show out of the first season. One of my favorite like single seasons of TV like ever. That shit was amazing for me. You know?
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, almost made my list, not quite. So, all right, my number two. Number two, it struggled, it waffled back and forth, but I put Watchmen.
What? Okay.
Yeah, my number two, Watchmen, and what can I say that we haven't already said about this show?
We sucked blue dick for like the last 3 episodes.
Yeah, I mean, it was a sequel to one of the greatest comics ever written. It sounded like a bad idea. I didn't think I was going to like it. I only watched the first episode just out of curiosity, just to basically shit on it. Mm-hmm. I was prepared to hate it, and I did not hate it at all. And it turned out to be one of the best shows ever.
Yep.
And it pushed buttons. It pissed people off. Talked about relevant issues. Talked about race in a way that most shows and media and art is afraid to do so. It's basically Public Enemy of a TV show. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean? That's saying shit that other motherfuckers are afraid to say.
Right.
And
they
that's
said
what
they didn't care who they offended.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck. NWA, they don't give a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
You know, KRS-One. It's the KRS-One of TV, basically. So yeah, Watchmen, my number two.
Okay, my number two. Eli, now I know this one you're gonna give me an eye roll on this one.
Yeah.
Okay. Number two, The Good Place.
I never seen that. What is that?
I love that fuck. It comes on NBC, regular show. There's no cursing, anything like that. It's just a simple show about 4 people that died and went. I hate to tell you that because one of the reasons of the spoiler is the reason it's on my list. But fuck it, I spoiled it for you. Okay, so the first season, basically these people died and they went to heaven. But one of the people realized that they kind of sucked in real life, so they really shouldn't be in heaven. So they've been kind of sneaking around and like, okay, teach me how to be a good person so I can, make believe I'm in heaven. But it turns out all of them have been shitty people, and they're not in heaven. They're really in hell the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who the fuck's on this show?
Oh, Kristen Bell, not Batman, the girl.
Oh, I don't know.
Kristen Bell, not Christian Bell.
Oh,
yeah.
Veronica Mars or whatever.
Veronica Mars.
Okay, yeah.
She's the only. Ted Danson. He's the angel that actually flips around and turns out to be a demon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because, or whatever. Everybody else, I have no idea who they are. It's just random people. But they're all, by the time, they're interesting characters in the right. So you won't know who they are. They're not famous actors, but you're going to be like, oh, that's that person. Oh, that's that person. Like, even if they play another role in another movie, you're going to be, oh, you're that guy from that. He's always going to be that person. So that's how that show is. It's just, the whole show is basically about philosophy, how to be a good person. Is being a good person even a thing? It doesn't, even though it's really not, they never really go into religion, about like heaven, hell, Muhammad. They don't do that. They just keep it like as vague as possible. So you kind of just take away from it what you want, basically about, being a good person on earth is just being a good person. They talk about philosophy and more stuff like that. And it's just a really interesting show. And I sit back and like, man, I learned something from this show. That's why it's my number two.
Cool. I never heard of it really.
Honestly, I don't think you could. I wouldn't imagine you liking this show.
Okay. Okay.
I'm just put it out there.
All right. Well, my number one is Community. I know it. Technically, it came out the first season. It would
have been mine, but I didn't put it on there. But since you said,
yeah. I mean, in 2009, that would have been the fall of 2009. So it
would have been the 2010 season. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So, but I mean, and I'll admit that first season, the only reason why I started watching this is because it came on after, I think, The Office. Because I was watching The Office, and then...
Oh, I think it came on before The Office.
Or something. It was on the same night as, like, The Office. So I'd watch that, and then I'd watch it after or whatever. And it was in between a couple of shows that I did watch. So I would just, like, leave it on. Sometimes I'd watch an episode. Sometimes I'd be doing shit. But it wasn't until that I think the season finale of that first season with the paintball episode, that first paintball episode.
Justin Lin directed the episode.
Yeah. And that's where I was like, okay, this is a good show. And then season 2 came, and it came on in that same block of Thursday night TV I watched. But I believe it was the Dungeons and Dragons episode.
Yeah. I was like, I never played an episode of Dungeons and Dragons before, but that episode was amazing.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, I'm hooked. I'm watching. I'm going to start watching the show from them. And I believe that's when the Russo brothers joined the show.
No. The Russo brothers was from the beginning.
Were they on the beginning? Okay.
Yeah. They were the showrunners of the show. That's how they got
Dan Harmon.
I
know Dan Harmon did the first. Yeah, he created it, but I know eventually, that the Russo brothers, that they did get on there, and
they directed a lot of the first episode. Like I think either the first 2 seasons or 3 seasons. It was all the first 2 seasons. Because at the end, then they jumped to Marvel. That's how they got noticed. That's how they were looking like. Look at like that paintball episode in season 2. That's how they got the Marvel job.
Yeah, the 2-parter.
The 2-parter. That's what Marvel saw them. Yeah. They were like, "Give me those guys. Let them do Winter Soldier." And matter of fact, before Winter Soldier came out, they already signed him to another Marvel deal. So, Community might be the most influential, impactful TV show of the decade.
The most nerdiest show of all time, because
if you want to go about Big Bang Theory, fuck Big Bang Theory.
So many references, because I didn't even really start watching Big Bang Theory till like 2012 or 2013.
Right, whenever that shit came out, right?
Yeah, but this was like, it like made so many references to nerdy stuff because Troy and Abed, those guys were nerds.
Yep.
There was like the zombie episode where they had the Halloween zombie party, and. What's his Troy was Inspector Spacetime, was like a whole thing on Doctor Who.
Yeah, Doctor Who. They went to like a Comic-Con or something. Yeah.
Yeah, he was like making references to Batman. He did the Batman episode where he was Batman and he was looking for the DVD and shit.
Right.
And then there was like the animated episode. Was like
remember the Scorsese episode?
Yes.
That was amazing because they did like a Goodfellas episode where they were like stealing chicken or some shit like
wing.
that.
They were doing the chicken strips.
Right.
They were doing the chicken strip shit. But then there was that one like anime where it's the foosball episode where it turned into anime between Shirley and Jeff, and they were doing foosball. It was like animated version of foosball and shit.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
But so it was like one of the nerdiest shows of all time and it's sad that it was always struggling because then Harmon got fired and a couple of seasons kind of actually, it did wane towards the end because people started, Donald Glover or that's his name, Donald Glover, right?
Yeah, not Danny Glover, Donald
not
Glover.
Danny Glover. Yeah, Donald Glover left. Shirley ended up leaving, and some of the cast members they replaced some of them. But,
Chevy Chase.
Chevy
got
Chase
fired because he said some racist shit to Donald Glover.
Yeah, but I still followed it to Yahoo. Like I actually got to Yahoo.
Those episodes were good,
and they were good. The Karate Kid episode,
right?
It was, once they got Harmon back, it was good again.
Like some of that season 6 episode, like they were making fun of themselves, and that's why this shit was funny,
Yeah. So I mean, it's one of my favorite shows of all time. I actually have like a season on DVD, like I had like on DVD, not Blu-ray. Like when it came out, I bought.
And as a matter of fact, let me talk about this 6th season in a movie quote. People confuse that quote. They weren't talking about themselves. They were talking about this other bullshit.
Cape.
The cape. They were talking about the cape. That's what it was. They made a joke saying that show's not gonna last 3 weeks, and that's when he said 6th season in the movie. He wasn't talking about Community. He was talking about the cape, which fucking sucked.
Yeah, because Troy was like that show.
Right.
So he was running around with the cape on, trying to whip it. Right. That show sucks. 6 seasons in a movie.
The community might have like the most quotable lines out of any, other than the office. Other than the office, the community might have the most quotable lines. They said so much quotable shit in there that I say to this day. On this podcast, I quote the community all the time. You do too, Eli.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
It's on Hulu, which I always watch it on Hulu when I'm just bored. People say, "Oh, The Office, The Office." I know. For me, it's Community.
Yeah.
Well,
So if you want to know the mind of our crazy, so watch the Community. Then you understand why we're so warped.
Miles Morales.
Community damn near invented Miles Morales. Matter of fact, it was an Easter egg. Donald Glover actually, like on one of the season premieres, woke up with a Spider-Man outfit, and people were like, he needs to be Spider-Man. Boom. Mm-hmm. And that's where the shit started from.
Yeah, that's where Bendis got the idea.
Yep. Oh man.
Yeah.
We can talk about Community all day, but that's not what we're here for. Okay.
Yeah. So that's my number one TV show of the decade.
I had Watchmen, but I'm gonna change the Community also.
All right.
All right. Now we're gonna go to we're gonna skip music. I don't want to talk about it because it's too weird. Video games. Video games.
Shit. You want to do video games? Go ahead.
Okay. Tell you what. This is the video game section. We're gonna just move on to the video game section right now, so we're gonna start there. I'll let you. You got a top 5 anything?
Video games?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, fuck it.
I'll just let you know.
Okay, yeah, I'll just go then. Okay, so yeah, the video games. I'm just go with my top 5. First, I got 2 lists. I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna do my top 5 like single player games, and then I'm doing top 5 fighting games because that's what I like to play more than anything, fighting games. So top 5. 5th one, The Last of Us. Number 4, Spider-Man. PS4.
Okay.
Yep. Number 3, Batman Arkham City.
Okay.
Yeah. Number 2, Mass Effect 2. Love that fucking game. And number 1, Grand Theft Auto 5. You can't go wrong with Grand Theft Auto 5. And it's on Xbox Live, Game Pass. If you got that, go get that. So, top 5 fighting games. Let's here we go. Okay. And then I'm going to move on from there. Number 5, King of Fighters 13. Love that fucking game. Game is amazing. Yeah. They made a bunch of them. Number 4, Dragon Ball Fighter Z. That game is amazing. Okay. Yeah, played it, made by the same folks who made Guilty Gear, whatever like that. Number 3, Tekken 7. People, please stop naming Tekken 3 as your favorite Tekken because it's not. Tekken 7 is the best Tekken. It's better than a fucking 20-year-old game that doesn't look like shit. It's a better game. Tekken 7. Go with it. Okay. Number 5, my personal favorite. I know everybody is divisive, but my personal favorite, Street Fighter 5. I love it. I'm going to get back onto it in January. I'm gonna really dig into it because they revamped the game from the ground up and got all kind of new characters, stuff like that. So yeah, and I'm gonna be streaming. So check the channel. You'll see me play it. Number 1, my favorite. No, not my favorite. The best fighting game of the 2010 decade. Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Game is amazing. Game is fucking amazing. You got Ghost Rider. Oh, you got it? Yeah, you do got it. That's right.
I had that, yeah.
Yeah, you playing it. Okay. Because it's got Ghost Rider. It's got Hawkeye. It's got Taskmaster. It's got Nova. Like, what the fuck is Nova on there? Awesome. Dante from Devil May Cry is on there with his brother Virgil and shit. Yeah. Just so much awesome shit on there, man. I Rocket Raccoon. That's the first time I ever heard of Rocket Raccoon on there. I remember playing against my my buddy, and I was like, I don't know who the fuck this raccoon is, but I'm just pick him up and start beating his ass with him. You're like, fuck you and that fucking raccoon. I don't know who the fuck he is, but get the fuck out of my house. So when the movie came out, like, hey, he's from the video game. So yeah, even back then, they knew the MCU was coming, so they were, starting to put their characters in there and shit like that. So yeah. That being said, we actually move on to the next part of the podcast.
Sure.
Okay. Roundabout way, but we're finally here where we need to be. So this is Comic Book Bullies, where we talk about comic books, because this is our bread and butter. So we're gonna talk about the number one. I will say this quickly. I'm not gonna do a top 5 list because I don't know off the top of my head. All I do know is that the number one comic book, or the number one selling comic book of last decade was Star Wars #1.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, the one that came out, I think, like 2015, like right after The Force Awakens.
Okay, I got that.
It is the only. Hang on to it. Actually, don't, because it's not gonna work for anything. I'm gonna tell you why. Because it is the only comic of the 2010 decade that sold over 1 million copies.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a big deal. All right.
Goddamn.
Yeah. So that means it won't be. Let me break down economics to people. So if the comic is the only comic that sold $1 million, 1 million copies, that means 10 years from now it's not going to be worth anything. because everybody has a copy.
Mm-hmm.
So don't think you're gonna, buy it and invest in it and send your kids to college. No, it's gonna probably be worth less money 10 years from now than it will be now. But hang on to it because I looked at it briefly and it looked like a great story. Oh, Jason Aaron wrote it.
Yeah, he did.
Jason Aaron is like a comic god now. So yeah. That being said, let's actually move on to the actual podcast. We're talking about comic books. We're going to jump into it, and the book we're going to start off with is X-Men number 4.
We're not going to do the best comics of the decade.
I mean, we can. Yeah, because
we don't have to.
I mean,
we don't have to. I don't.
Yeah, let's do it. Best comic books of the decade. Yeah, we can do it. I don't have a list. I'm just freestyle top of my head. But yeah, you can go first, and I'll get inspired.
Well, I didn't put these shit in order, so I'm just gonna read everything.
Okay, you go, and then I'll go. But like I said, This is not comic book like individual. We're talking about comic book storylines or graphic novels or trade paperbacks. That's where we're going with it. So yeah.
Yeah. I'll do Murder Falcon because it was awesome. I talked about it, Murder Falcon. Mm-hmm. Scalped. Jason Aaron writing Indian shit, even though he thinks people in South Dakota talk like people in the South.
Right, I was like, that culture appropriation? But I guess it's like, Jonathan Hickman writing Black Panther. So
it's him doing Thunderheart or doing like the stuff with Leonard Peltier. It's his version of that. Yeah. It almost made it. It was they were going to do a TV show, but they didn't. The pilot was never picked up, so now it's not going to be a TV show.
Yeah, maybe a movie down the road. You never know.
Yeah. I gotta say the Flintstones, those DC reboots of the Hanna-Barbera shit.
That you?
Flintstones, the first run of the Flintstones was really good.
Okay.
Dealt with a lot of issues, a lot of political commentary through Flintstones. I gotta say the Archie horror line. Never would have thought I would have got into Archie, but the only reason why I know these characters is because of those horror books that the Archie put out. Afterlife, Jughead the Hunger, Sabrina, the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, Vampirodica now. So I'm Archie horror. Vader Down, out of those Star Wars books, the Vader story was dope. It introduced us to Dr. Aphra. It introduced us to that just Vader. The Vader book was dope. Of course, Immortal Hulk. I keep fucking blowing that. James Tynion's detective comic run was awesome. It was basically X-Men in Batman. Witches with the Y by Scott Snyder. Awesome horror book. Got my #1 signed by Snyder just a couple months ago.
Nice. Okay.
I got Vision. Tom King's Vision run.
Made classic.
Great.
Which is why I'm excited for WandaVision.
Yeah.
Which has been moved up to this year because everybody's been canceling their subscriptions.
Yeah. I got Venom, Donny Cates' Venom run. Aliens Defiance, one of the coolest alien stories to come out in a long time. I also got the Aliens versus Predator versus Prometheus, the Fire and Stone story arc where they just blended Aliens, Predator, Prometheus all in one continuous arc, and they made it work. Aquaman, the Throne of Atlantis story arc, and the Underworld story arc. Great runs. Secret Wars 2. Jonathan Hickman. Hey.
Okay.
That was dope. And then Batman Death of the Family. Joker ripping off his face. Basically what got me back into reading comics. I hadn't read in comics in years, and I heard, hey, Joker ripped off his face. Really? I got to read that. And then when I found out it was Greg Capullo doing the art, I'm like, holy shit, that sounds awesome.
Right. So, you speak for Spawn, so yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my list of comics of the decade.
Okay. There's more than 5. That's cool. I'm not gonna do top 5. I'm gonna just roll off the list just like you did. Avengers versus X-Men. I don't care what anybody say. That shit was classic. Yeah, you always want to see all of the X-Men versus all of the Avengers fighting over Phoenix and shit like that. Awesome. Secret War. That's also on there. War, whatever you want to call it is. Matter of fact, actually, Jonathan Hickman entire Avengers run. The whole thing. The Avengers and New Avengers run, because the whole thing actually led up, because you have to read that to get the Secret Wars anyway. But in between then, you got all kind of shit. You got the Infinity, which part of Infinity War was based on. That's the first time the Black Order showed up. That was in the Avengers book. Time Runs Out. Just that whole run was awesome. Capullo and Snyder's Batman New 52 run. The whole thing.
The whole thing.
The whole thing. It was only 52 issues.
Even Gordon in robot Batman suit.
Okay. I didn't hate that. I didn't hate that though.
I didn't hate it either.
Yeah, I mean, people hate him just because it's different. But I was like, I want to see what Gordon does, you know. And plus, he showed up again in one of those other Batman vs Superman books, and I was like, hey, it's Gordon, you know. So I mean, I was happy to see him again. So yeah, I'm including all that whole run because it was just awesome, man. 0 Hour, all that shit. Death in the Family, Endgame. They had an Endgame story in that one too. Court of Owls, that was fucking nuts.
Court of Owls, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that first Justice League, New 52, the one with Jeff Johns and Jim Lee. Just those first, that whole run sucked. I mean, the whole, like, I can't say get the entire run. Nah, it sucked. But that first 6 issues where they fought Darkseid, they come together and Superman just beat the fuck out of that was awesome. Classic shit. Oh, what other ones? You know what? I'm gonna put Secret Empire on there.
Really?
I'm gonna put.
Was that this decade? That was this decade?
Yeah, like 2016.
Secret? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, Secret Empire.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about Nazi Cap.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I was thinking of something else. I was thinking of Secret Invasion.
No, that was last decade. That was definitely last decade.
Yeah.
So Secret Empire, Nazi Cap. Look, I hated the concept of it, but reading it, I was like, it's actually pretty interesting. And on top of that, Tennessee Colts was able to actually spin a really good Captain America out of the aftermath of it. So it actually
for a while he did, yeah.
For a while, then it eventually, you know, Colts gonna coach, you know. So, but until then, it was pretty interesting. So I go with that. I'm trying to think what other awesome run. Vision, of course.
Yeah.
Vision is my favorite. So if you want to know what my number one is, that Vision is it. Shit. What else was it? I'm trying to blank. I read so much shit.
Bendis Superman?
Fuck no. but I am gonna put. Okay, hold on. When did All-Star Superman come out?
All-Star Superman?
Yeah. Did All-Star Superman come out this decade?
I don't know. I don't know if I read All-Star Superman.
I don't think it came out.
I don't think I.
No, hell no, that shit came out in 2005. Okay,
is All-Star Batman the one that Snyder wrote?
I'm trying to remember that one. Was that any good?
And him and your boy, what's his name?
Oh yeah, no, fuck him. I can't do it because he was that Action Comics 118, whatever the fuck it is. I was gonna pick it up and I saw him drawing. I was like, nope, fuck that. So, but I'm gonna put Grant Morrison's Action Comics run on there. I thought that was awesome. He redid Superman. He made Superman like an asshole, basically like it was back in the 30s. He weakened him because he couldn't fly anymore. All he could do was jump. I thought that shit was awesome to see he was doing with that. Your Aquaman run, the one that you named, I'm putting it on there too. That whole Jeff Johns run.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit was awesome.
Dan Abnett took over, and yeah.
I kind of fell off after Dan Abnett. Yeah, I heard good things
the
about
rebirth,
it.
but even the rebirth, like I'm saying, when Rebirth started and that whole underworld.
Yeah.
With that was cool too.
So and shit, House of X.
Oh, okay.
I know you're not gonna put it there, but I'm gonna put it there. Just because he reinvented the X-Men, he made me give a shit about the X-Men again. So yeah, that's I think that's it. It's probably some more books that I'm forgetting about, but yeah, those were awesome. Oh, Mr. Miracle too. I gotta talk about Mr. Miracle. So that's up there. That being said, can we move on to the actual comic book reviews?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Like I said, it's comic book reviews. The first one we're going to talk about is X-Men number 4. Basically, the book, the cover is Professor X, Magneto, and Apocalypse in all 3-piece suits. And they're going to, what is the place called? The World Economic Forum in Switzerland. So they invited there because, like I said, they're a big deal now. Professor X may or may not be the wealthiest man in the Marvel Universe. So, of course, they're going to invite them out there to have a conversation with them. They go out there, they meet, they have dinner, and what they eat, I got to tell you what they eat. Okay, they eat watermelon gazpacho infused with, and I may be saying this wrong, habanero? Am I saying it right?
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
And poblano chilies. So watermelon gazpacho. So I want to have that dinner because that's what the X-Men eat. So I don't give a fuck how much it costs. I'm gonna eat it and I'm gonna YouTube it when I eat it with shredded kale, mushrooms, bacon, and Parmesan. So yeah, so I gotta eat that shit. So anyway, they're eating. They have a good time, and people just want to. As people ask, okay, hey Magneto, hey Professor X, and they see Apocalypse, they like, do I call you Insubordinate? Like you call me Apocalypse. You're human. You're not allowed to say my real name. I'm like, okay, you know. And then they sit there, and basically the thing they're asking them is like, what do you plan on doing? What do you plan on doing with these drugs that you're selling us? What happen if you decide to start another war with us? And Magneto's like, haven't y'all realized that I've changed by now? Yes, a month ago, I would have overtook your company. We lifted all your weapons off the ground and aimed them at you. I don't have to do that anymore because I'm learning from what you guys do. You guys don't do that. So I'm going to do the same thing that you guys do. What we're doing with the mutant kind, we're going to use your drug. You're going to buy our drugs from us. You're going to pay us a lot of money. And we're going to turn around and we're going to invest that money. We're going to invest that money into your schools. We're going to invest that money into your media. We're going to invest that money into your politicians. So we're going to control every influence that you guys have, and we're going to be the main influencers on the planet. So if you guys try to do anything against us, you won't be able to do anything because those people that make all the decisions in the world, we're going to make them, obsolete. So yeah, so humankind may still fear us and hate us when it's all said and done, but when we're done, they won't have any power to do anything about it anyway. So it doesn't matter. Everybody's like, wait, what the fuck? Like, yeah, the mutants are here. And then on top of that, the American ambassador is just like, well, what about, apparently the Americans were going to send some assassins to come kill, Professor X, Magneto, and Apocalypse. But before they could do it, Cyclops and another mutant named Gorgon, I think he's like Wolverine villain, but there's no X-Men mutant villains anymore. Cyclops takes out the top half, and Gorgon, since there's a rule that X-Men can't kill humans anymore, he doesn't kill them. He just chopped their arms off. Just to honor the deal. And yeah, Magneto was like, so y'all either get with the program or that's it. We're eventually gonna take over. Y'all trying to assassinate Professor X. That's why he's really pissed right now. So he's the calm one. But eventually, y'all got to get with the program. So stop trying to kill us. They're trying to assassinate us. Just accept it that eventually we're gonna take over. So they finish eating their watermelon gazpacho. And they leave, and that's it. So, yeah. Awesome ass book. I know I ran through it because it's very, very dense. I want to give it a 5, Eli. I really want to give it a 5.
Oh, damn.
But I can't because I read a better book this week. I'm going to get a 4.5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Only because if it was any other book, any other week, I would have given it a 5. Yeah.
All right, my turn.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'll go with Punisher Soviet number 3.
Okay.
So Punisher is after this Russian mob boss, but it turns out every time he tries to go hit him and his crew, somebody already did it. Somebody already killed these guys and fucked them up and shit. And he finally meets the guy, this Russian dude. And basically, this issue is him telling him and Frank are kind of hanging out, and they're telling him. The Russians like giving him his backstory. He's telling him how he fought in the Afghanistan war, and his squad got like ambushed, and that he may have gotten ambushed by the mob boss that they're after, and that's why this Russian dude's after the same guy Frank's after. So that's about it. It's just a backstory into the Russian guy, the Russian hitman's life and his time in the war, and it's Garth Ennis, so it gets really violent. It's gory, and it's cool. 4 out of 5.
Okay, cool. Next book I have is Thor number 1.
I did not read this.
Yep, Donny Cates, y'all.
Donny Cates almost did.
Because Donny Cates' name was on it. So yeah, let me just jump into what's going on with this book. Okay, so the book actually starts off with like a really biblical saying, like, lo, in the beginning there was darkness, and then there was lightning, and then he said, let there be thunder. It was like really, but basically what it is this Thor is just throwing Mjolnir through all the 10 realms. Not 9 realms, it's 10 realms, because they added one. I'm not going to name all, I can't remember all them damn names. I'm going to try. Okay, off the top of my head. Vanaheim, Alfheim, Muspelheim, Swallow the Dark World. You know that one. Niflheim, that's hell. That's where Hela runs. Heaven, which is the 10th realm, they added. Asgard, of course. I probably ran some other ones. And Midgard, of course.
The Jotunheim.
Jotunheim. Shit, how to forget Jotunheim? The Frost Giants, yeah. Okay, so he's throwing the hammer all through the 10 realms, all the way to Midgard. And when you get to Midgard, it goes all the way to Manhattan, and you see the Avengers fighting some what Coates Cates in the back of the note said he calls it a Kirby monster. You know, so basically, the Avengers are fighting this monster, having a hard time with it, and then Mjolnir just goes right through the middle of it, just kills it automatically. They're like, wait, what the fuck? And then Tony looks at the hammer. He's like, you know what? Anybody got a Sharpie? You know, with this shit-eating grin on his face. So Thor calls the hammer back to him, and when he gets the hammer back, he sees written on his hammer. Hold up, let me not fuck this up. Nice shot. Enjoy your retirement. Now, this has already been memed. So basically, people is like, Tony, and you got a Sharpie? And then when Thor grabs the hammer, there's already been people written there like, yeah, this fucking comic sucks. You know, or some shit like that, you know. But anyway, Thor is now the king of Asgard. He's missing an eye because all this shit happened in War of the Realms that he had to give up his eye to become worthy or get wisdom or some bullshit like that. I can't remember what it was. But anyway, he's missing an eye. Arm is still gone. So he's got the destroyer armor on him. Sif is now, since he's the king of Asgard, Sif's basically like the guardian of Asgard, whatever like that. So basically, Sif is taking his place that he used to have. And he's like, well, maybe I need to do this. Maybe to do that. Like, no, Thor, that's my job now. You be your thing. So those two ravens that Odin used to have, those two ravens fly with him now, you know. And she like, go, and Sif is like, go be a king. And Thor thinks to himself, man, yeah, but what's a king to a god? And it made me pause for a second, Eli. I really had to pause. Is because Donny Cates just quoted Jay-Z.
Oh, yeah?
He made Thor quote Jay-Z. That's a line. What's a mob to a king? What's a king to a god? What's a god to a non-believer? I just find it interesting, like, okay, that's weird. But anyway, back to the story. Thor is sitting in there. So Thor actually has a real name. Thor's name is Thorazaz. You ever heard of that?
Thorazaz? No.
Yeah, Thorazaz. That's his full name or something? I don't know. It's a thing. Anyway, he's got this rune symbol that kind of look like a P that's over his like throne area, whatever like that. So anyway, Asgard is rebuilt because Yggdrasil, I know I might have fucked that name up, whatever like that, but Yggdrasil rebuilt Asgard and stuff like that. So he's supposed to give this speech tomorrow. But before he can give the speech, it starts snowing. You're like, wait, snow in Asgard? That shit doesn't happen. And it starts snowing, and all of a sudden, Galactus falls out of the sky and just crashes in front of everybody. Galactus is fucked up. He got goo all over him, and he's missing an arm. Like, wait, who the fuck did this shit to Galactus? And Galactus, because he's Galactus, he's filling a bunch of Asgardians, so he killed like a bunch of Asgardians. So Thor was just like about to fuck him up, like, Galactus, what the fuck are you doing for Asgard? So he starts, you know, lighting up Mjolnir, getting ready to smash the shit out of him. And Galactus is like, no, Thor, don't hit me, don't hit me. They're like, wait, what? They're like, okay. And Thor just collapses and just passes out. Galactus, you know, just passed out. He like, what the fuck has happened? So they make a more, you know, a funeral for all the dead Asgardians that Galactus fell on and shit like that weeks later. And Thor has a conference call with all of Galactus' heralds. They show up. And he just cussing the fuck out like, what the hell is Galactus doing in my realm? What is he doing here? And one of you better have answers. And everybody like, I don't know what the fuck you talking about, Thor. I don't know. And one person steps out that knows the answer to it, and it is Norrin Radd, a.k.a. the Black Surfer? Okay. Remember Donny Cates' run, right?
Yeah, Silver Surfer Black.
Yeah, so he's all black now. Just like he was in that Thanos run where he was all black, the chosen one, the fallen one at the end. Matter of fact, I think he even had Mjolnir at the end of that book. But anyway, that's another time for another story. Silver Surfer's here. He knows exactly what the hell is going on. He like, look, what fucked Galactus up is that, okay, everybody knows Galactus' story about that. It was an old universe. The Big Bang happened, and he's the only survivor of the Big Bang, and he became Galactus. Well, we know what that Big Bang was. It was called the Black Winter. That's why it started snowing when Galactus hit the ground, because he also called, what would he call it? The Solar Purge or Star Purge. It's called a Star Purge. So apparently, Galactus went through this again. That same Big Bang that fucked him up the first time, he went through it again and saw it, and that's what killed him. Oh, well, almost killed him. He's not dead, but he's like really fucked up. So Silver Surfer and Silver Surfer basically telling him that Big Bang that killed the old universe, It's coming again. And the only person that can stop it is Galactus. Because he's the only person that survived it. So what we need to do is make Galactus more powerful than he's ever been before in order for him to fight the Black Winter. How do we do that? Well, there's these 6 planets that if Galactus eat these planets, these specific planets, he'll be more powerful than he's ever been before. And I've intentionally, up until this point, has hidden these planets from him that he couldn't eat them. But now we have no choice. He's got to eat these planets. Like, okay. So Thor is just like, well, you ain't going alone, Surfer. I'm coming with you. And Surfer's like, I'm gonna be. Don't worry, all the other heroes like Cosmic Ghost Riders there and shit like that. He like, y'all chill. I will be Galactus' personal hero on this to show him these planets, and we'll escort everybody off the planet first before we feed him to Galactus. Like, okay, cool. So, now Galactus is walking up again, and he's walking in front of Thor, and Thor is like, Galactus, kneel. You're like, okay, my bad. So he kneels, and then he reads Silver Surfer's mind. He like, so Surfer, you been holding these planets for me the whole time and didn't tell me about them? Like, I'm impressed. Like, yeah. So we're gonna go to these planets and we're going to evacuate everybody, and all you have to, and then you can eat the planets. You ready to go, Galactus? Galactus like, no. Like, wait, what do you mean no? Yeah, I'm not going with you. Because when I saw the Black Winter, it showed me the form of what my death will be. The first time when I was immortal, I couldn't comprehend what I was seeing. But the second time it did it, I saw exactly what it was. And you know what killed me? It was Thor. And he points at, he's like, wait, what? Yeah, that was the what I saw. So what I'm gonna do is make sure that shit didn't happen again. So he raises his hand at Thor, blasts him. But while he blasts him, he like, we're gonna go to these planets. I'm gonna eat them, but I'm gonna make sure when this shit is over and I fight the Black Winter, I'm gonna make sure Thor doesn't get out of line. Now rise, my herald. And now Thor is a herald of Galactus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So awesome story. Loki did some bullshit in there too. I'm just interested to see where this shit goes. Oh, and Thor has that P on his chest now, like Superman or whatever.
I thought it was gonna be like, no, fucked up Galactus or some shit.
No, I mean that's the thing. Like, Donny Cates is writing one story. That's the now maybe Venom hasn't tied into this shit yet, but you know it will.
Yeah.
You just gotta give it time. So yeah, this book I'm giving it a 5 out of 5. I'm giving it a 5 out of 5 just because the art is there. Donny Cates wrote the shit out of this. It's an awesome Thor story again, especially how it's basically like it's a play off the Odyssey, and plus there's so many biblical references in it, even though we're talking about Norse mythology.
I'm about to say that Vikings would be pissed off to hear about that shit.
I know, but it's definitely a lot of biblical references in there because he's making him like a god, So Thor's not fucking around in this book. I'm waiting to see what happens in the next issue. And it seems like the next issue they show one panel of it, and Thor is fighting Galactus as his herald.
Oh no shit.
Yeah. So that's all I got.
Okay. I guess I'll do. So I did a Star Wars book.
Go ahead. Oh, and I read it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Star Wars
you can't have all the fun.
Star Wars #1.
You had too much fun reading these Star Wars books. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna read it too.
Star Wars #1 again. Mm-hmm. So this basically happens right after the events of Empire.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to fill in the blanks between Empire and Jedi. And Luke is all fucked up. He got his hand chopped off. All depressed and wondering if, after being defeated by Vader and finding out Vader's his dad. And
lied to about a Jedi.
Yeah, is he good enough to be a Jedi, or is he going to go dark? Meanwhile, the Rebel Alliance is still on the run from Hoth, and they're trying to get out. There's an Imperial blockade kind of blocking them from escaping, and doesn't Luke use the Force and fuck somebody up?
Yeah, like all the TIE fighters, because he was going to shoot him, but he's only got one hand, so he can't use the gunner.
Yeah, so then he uses he does some Neo shit and uses the Force to fuck up the TIE fighters.
Yeah.
And I think that's about it.
Poe Dameron's parents are in there.
Yeah, Poe Dameron's parents are in there.
Yeah.
I thought I was kind of like, I've been here before.
Well, that was my first Star Wars comic, so I think I liked it a little bit more than you did.
I'm just like, Shadows of the Empire dealt with this time period.
Mhm.
I read comics back in the day that's dealt with this time period.
But this
So
is
it's like-
canonical now.
So now it's like it's new canon, and I guess I don't care. Basically, I don't give a shit. I don't care. I don't know. I'm not in. I don't know if I can start following another. Basically, I don't know if I'm going to start following another Star Wars book because I've read so many of them and I got bored with them. And this is just like we're going and retreading old history again, only rewriting it again. And yeah, I mean, if there's new insights to Luke's character, cool. I just don't really care, I guess. So for me, it's just a 3 out of 5. I don't know if I'm going to read number 2. So yeah.
I'm probably won't either. One thing I didn't like is Lando's characteristics on there. I thought he acted like a bitch.
Oh yeah. They're dealing with that. Like he's not part of the Rebel Alliance yet.
Right. I mean, they trying to make it seem like he threw him, but at the same time, Lando had to make it. Like if you watch the movie, he had to make a decision between like his planet and some dude he never met before, Luke Skywalker. But they trying to make it seem like he's some selfish bastard like that. Like, no, he was actually protecting more people than you have, and plus Vader was leaning on him.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But in here they just made him like a bitch. Like, oh, we gotta watch him, otherwise he's just gonna run on him. Like, nah, he's not even that guy anymore. But yeah, whatever.
And
I thought it was pretty cool. Luke fucking up those TIE fighters, and they doing the bombing run on the ship, stuff like that. That bad guy was cool. What's her name? Dora.
Oh, that new Imperial commander or whatever.
Yeah, like she gonna manually shoot the shit and like stuff like that. So yeah.
I mean, I had some moments. It's just like I don't need to know why Luke eventually becomes the good guy in Return of the Jedi. Like I said, I've read books, played game like Shadows of the Empire. You know.
Yeah. And plus, this whole thing is a retcon anyway because they didn't make a pit stop anyway before they got to the line.
So
to
we're
the
not
allies. They were just there.
We're not even out of Empire Strikes Back the movie because at the end of Empire Strikes Back the movie, Luke has got a new hand and Lando and Chewie are taking off in the Falcon to go look for Han. So we're not even there yet.
Right.
So
I mean, you got to have some kind of story. So they got something that hopefully they will find some way to maybe tie this into like the new movies. Maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. Charles Soule writing it. I was expecting a little more. I just like, I don't know. I don't need to.
He's getting started. We'll see where it goes.
I don't know if I'm going to read the next one. So.
Oh well. Okay. So you got any other ones?
Just that Joker Harley book.
Oh yeah, you should have been to that
one. Did you read it?
Nah, I saw it. I was like, I'm good. They keep throwing too many Joker and Harley books at me. I'm kind of Joker and Harley out.
I liked it. It's Harley's a serial killer profiler investigating this serial killer called the Joker. He's going around, killing and mutilating people in weird ways. We get a backstory on this version of the Joker, so it's another Joker origin story in a sense. A little bit more of him, and just her investigating. It's just I'm not a Harley Quinn fan, so I don't care. But I like this version of her. She's just a hard-boiled detective. That's what I'd like to see out of the Batman comics. Is just a good old-fashioned hard-boiled detective story.
I guess because that slows the pacing down of the books, so that's why they don't do them. Because you read those old like 70s Neil Adams books, Denny O'Neil books. I read like a couple on DC Universe. All that shit is in there. Yeah, like, they go deep into that shit, and they just don't fool with that shit nowadays.
Well, just lately, I'm getting just burnt out on the whole multiverses and multiple Batmans and Batman Who Laughs and Barbados and universes colliding and shit. And let's just take it back to the streets. You know what I mean?
Right. Everybody who laughs and shit.
Yeah, I'm just kind of getting burnt out on that. So and even though Batman's not in this book, I enjoyed the story. It's just a serial killer mystery. So I'm into it. They haven't lost me yet. I'll probably read the next one just because I'm into it. And the art's awesome. So
same guy from the Damn book, right? Batman Damn.
Is it the same guy? I don't know.
I thought maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. I thought it was the same artwork. Maybe I'm getting confused with somebody else.
But it reminds me of those photorealistic, kind of like the the Punisher Bradstreet covers.
Yeah.
Kind of like that. Very photorealistic artwork. So.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. And then the other book I read was Detective Comics 1018. Some Viking. This is if this came out a couple weeks ago, it would have been cooler because it deals with Christmas.
Yeah, it would make it Scandinavian or some shit like that. Maybe it was supposed to, and it just didn't have a chance, you know.
Yeah, and there's like this Viking going around killing people and hanging their body parts on Christmas trees, because Vikings are like Yuletide and Yule, that all the Viking or the Christmas traditions that we're known for, Christmas trees and ornaments and shit, and Yule logs. That's all Viking Norse traditions.
Yep.
So this Viking is going around on Christmas in Gotham killing people, and Batman's sort of investigating. There's some cool parts because Alfred's dead, so he's dead, and this is Bruce's first Christmas without him. So there's some cool, very touching moments in that. Where Bruce is like, "Damn, Alfred's not here." So, but I give that a 4.
Follow through with that, okay?
Yeah, so I give that a 4 out of 5, and I think that's about it. Oh, I read that Hawkeye too, but I don't care.
Okay. Go listen to Comic Cast. They'll talk about it. Oh, yeah, we got to promote Comic Cast, man. Yeah, because they actually wore one of our shirts on there.
Did they?
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to order any of those shirts. I want a hoodie.
We've been doing a really shitty job. We don't even promote. Other podcasts do a better job promoting our merchandise than we do. So, yes, if you've been listening this long, yes, we have merch. We're going to do a better job in doing the merch. We're going to put links up. We're going to start wearing it ourselves,
Yeah.
And we're going to start promoting it. So if you want to get one of our shirts and hoodies and whatever else we have, definitely follow the website, Facebook page. We will give you information of where to find that stuff because, hell, I might need to talk to Boogie to see where he got it from.
Yeah.
And definitely if you listen this long, definitely like, share, subscribe. We have other podcasts. Definitely the Comic Cast. Like I said, they did reviews. Also listen to This Geeks and Comics when we come out. Hoodoo TV. Instruments of Destruction. Did I say it right? I did. Okay. Talking Balls. Wrestling Council. I'm missing one. What am I missing? Geeks Have. Did I say y'all?
You did now.
Okay, there we go. I may have missed another one. Whatever. Yeah, like I said, next week we'll have a regular show. Show. Yeah, if we're still here. Like I said, I'm trying not to do the memes, but they're saying you can't get impeached for a 2020 election if there's no 2020.
There you go. Yeah, and hey, Iran, just to let Iran know. Yeah, man, Trump don't even want my ass in this country, so it ain't my fault.
Right. Like we don't like him either. Shit.
Yeah.
Don't bomb the White House. Bomb the golf courses.
Yeah, us minorities, Trump don't even like us. He don't even want us around. So.
Right. Oh shit. Yeah. So, like I said, if we're still here and we didn't bomb Baghdad, until next time, it's Leroy.
This is Eli.
We'll talk to you guys next week. Same bully time, same bully channel.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, Islam National Underground Thunderbounds when I stop the ground. Like a million elephants, a silverback orangutan. You can't stop a train. Who wants some? Don't come unprepared. I'll be there, but when I leave there, better be a household name. Weatherman telling us it ain't gon' rain. So now we sitting in a drop top soaking wet. In the silk suit, trying not to sweat. Hit somersaults without the net. But this be the year that we won't forget. 1999. For living the fences, too hot to jump in jail, too low to dig, I might just touch hell. Hot, get a life, now they on sale, then I might catch you a spell. Look at what came in the mail, I'm scared of some arm and hammer, so road grill and a baby mama, black hair in the back of pampers, stack of questions with no answers, cure for cancer, cure for AIDS, make a nigga wanna stay on tour for days, get back home, things are wrong, when not really it was bad all along, before you left ass up to a ball of power, thoughts at 1,000 miles per hour, hello ghetto, let your brain breathe, believe there's always more, don't pull the bang out, unless you plan to bang.
Still stay street. Big things happen every time we meet. Like a track team, crash team, dying to geek. Outcasts bumping up and down the street. Slam back, Cadillac by
certified nigga day 75 MCs freestyle to the beat cause we get crunk, stay drunk at the club. Should've bought an ounce but you caught the glove. Should've held back but you throw the punch. Supposed to meet you good but you packed the lunch. No G to the U to the G for you. Got a son on the way by the name of Bamboo. Got a little baby girl 4 year Jordan. Never turn my back on my kids for them. Should've hit it. Rag top. Before you eat up, get a laptop. Make a business for yourself, boy, set some goals. Make a fat dime out of dust and cold. Record number 4, but we on the road. Hold up, slow up, stop, control like Janet. Planet, stay on it's on ya. Moving like floor, come straight to Florida. Lock like you understand, block the quarters. Put it up on bail, cause the weapon's in order. Like a 3-piece bitch before I cut your daughter. Your kid on Taco Bell, then I hit the border. Penny Pat rapper trying to get the 5. I'm a microphone fiend trying to stay alive. When you come to ATM, well, you bet not hide, cause the Dungeon family gon' ride.
Don't pull the bang out unless you plan to bang. Don't even bang unless you plan to hit something. Don't pull the bang out unless you plan to bang. Don't even bang unless you plan to hit something. Give him some.